What's up guys, Nukin here, and I am back with another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video. And man, there is a lot to cover in this video, so I'm gonna try to cover a lot of the bases. So we won't be able to cover everything in detail, but what I'm going to talk about in this video, we're briefly going to talk about Dengar's new leadership ability and some of the new Zetas coming to the bounty hunters. We're also going to review the contract payout mechanic, which is a new mechanic coming specifically just for bounty hunters in this game. And then we're going to look at Bossk's kit, which is pretty good, I might add, and then we'll see if the bounty hunters have any Sith Raid potential. So, very interesting. Anyways, so hopefully this video is helpful, hopefully it's enjoyable, and if it is, give it a thumbs up, it means a lot. And without further ado, let's talk about Bossk and some bounty hunters. So what's new? So we have a few things here that we'll briefly cover. We have a contract payout mechanic system that is initially coming to the game for just specifically bounty hunters. We'll review that in just a minute. We have target lock, which was initially a ship mechanic, and then it got crossed over to the Imperial probe droid, and it looks like more droids are gaining target lock because now it's going to be available for use on IG-88 on his rapid fire special AoE air of effect ability. We also have Dengar, who is gaining a leadership ability, and we have some Zeta upgrades on Dengar's unique and IG-88's unique. So let's take a look at Dengar's leadership ability first. And here it is. Dengar's leadership ability is called Job Satisfaction, and so all bounty hunter allies are going to have 50% health steal, and all enemies are going to have minus 50% critical damage. That will be the case all of the time, and this will make a little bit more sense when we review the contract system. But in addition, there's a conditional bonus to his leadership. All enemies are going to have minus 20% offense for the rest of the battle if you're able to complete the contract. So we'll review the contract system in just a second, but those are going to be all the bonuses that you get from Dengar's leadership ability. Let's also review Dengar's unique, which is gaining a Zeta ability. So here's Dengar's unique as is right now without the Zeta. So if you're not familiar with it, basically Dengar, whenever he's critically hit, he goes into stealth, and then whenever enemies dodge or evade Dengar's attacks, he gets 60% turn meter, and whenever Dengar's debuffed, he also gains tenacity up for 2 turns. Now with the Zeta on Dengar's unique, you gain the last sentence here, which is while Dengar is stealthed, enemies can't gain stealth, and whenever this ability triggers, Dengar is going to recover 3% health and protection. So that was Dengar. Let's also briefly cover IG-88's unique. So here it is without the Zeta. Basically, it's going to give IG-88 45% critical damage, and he's going to deal 20% damage for each enemy suffering a debuff. And now with the Zeta on IG-88's unique, he's going to gain a bunch more stuff. So he's going to be able to recover 50% health whenever he damages a target locked enemy. Remember that he can apply target lock himself on his special ability. And on top of that, he's going to have 50% evasion when target locked enemies are attacking him. On top of that, target locked enemies can't recover any health or protection. So now that we quickly reviewed some of the new stuff, let's talk about the newest, biggest mechanic that's coming to the game, which is contracts and payouts. So this is going to be specifically for the bounty hunter faction. So contracts are like mini quests or objectives that are optional that you try to complete inside a battle. If you ever dabbled in the game Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA title, they have a similar system in that game where overall your objective is of course to win, but to try to help accomplish that, you can try to do these mini quests, and once you complete them, you get bonuses for the rest of the battle. And so this sort of similar mechanic mechanic is now coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So every bounty hunter leader is going to have a contract where you try to complete it. When you complete that contract, you get two things. You get the contract reward to all of your bounty hunter allies, and every bounty hunter that has a contract payout ability is going to also receive an individual bonus. So we were talking briefly about IG-88 just a second ago, so let's use him as an example. When you complete a contract, even though he's not in the leadership position, he receives a payout. And so specifically for IG-88, for example, for the rest of the battle, he is going to reduce enemies' tenacity by 10% every time he critically hits. So let's review a few more points and then try to do an example. So the leadership from bounty hunters are going to be shared with all allies, but the contract is only going to be shared with bounty hunter allies, the contract portion. And so not all contracts are the same. So the contract reward for and what you need to do to get that contract is going to be different if you use Boba Fett in the leadership position versus maybe using IG-88 in the leadership position. And also bounty hunters are also going to have the individual payouts that they receive on top of the contract reward bonuses. So when you complete a contract, you're getting two bonuses: the bonus from the leadership contract reward and their individual payouts, which are more consistent, and it is not dependent on who is a bounty hunter leader. And then lastly, a little small tidbit: bounty hunter leaders won't initially be able to be used in the ally slot for some time until they do another client update. So here is how it's going to look inside the game. And so we're going to do a little sneak peek since we're going to cover Bossk Kit next. So this is a screenshot of Bossk leadership after you have completed the contract inside the game. So the contract mechanic system is going to be designated by a blue icon color. And as you can see here, we have received the contract reward from the leadership, specifically from Bossk. So we've gained that. That's 50 speed. And then since we've completed a contract, we always will get Dengar's payout, since we're looking at Dengar or whatever. Every character has an individual payout as well. So you receive the leader contract reward from specifically the leadership position of whoever is the bounty hunter leader, and then you're going to receive the payout on the individual characters, which will always be the same. So now that we've reviewed everything, now let's cover Bossk. So here he is. He's finally coming here. So Bossk is a dark side scoundrel bounty hunter tank. He's a bounty hunter tank that constantly regenerates health and protection. He has a basic attack, 2 specials, a leadership ability, a unique, and of course his contract. Alright, so now let's cover his leadership, his unique, and his contract payout. So here is his leadership ability. It's called On the Hunt. It is one of his Zeta abilities. He has a second Zeta as well. So this one is pretty good. All bounty hunter allies are going to gain 50% max protection and tenacity. On top of that, bounty hunter allies are going to gain 100% defense while they are at full health. And whenever an enemy suffers a debuff or resists, all bounty hunter allies are going to recover 5% health and protection. So that's going to be the case all the time. Now he also has a contract reward system as well. So if you're able to deal damage to the lowest health enemy 10 times, all of your bounty hunter allies are going to gain 50 speed for the rest of the battle. So we just covered his first Zeta. This is his second Zeta. It's on his unique, and it's pronounced, I'm going to butcher this, Trandoshan Rage. It basically gives Bossk 50% defense and 50% max health while he has taunt, and he's going to gain 50% offense and 50% health steal while attacking buffed enemies. And then on top of that, when Bossk loses taunt, of course he gains taunt. He gains taunt for 1 turn if the weakest enemy has protection. And lastly, we have Bossk Payout. So you're going to get this bonus whenever you complete any contract from any bounty hunter leader. So when Bossk receives rewards from a contract, he's going to gain the following. He's going to be able to recover 5% health and 5% protection at the start of each of his turns. And he's also going to gain half that amount, so 2.5% health and protection, whenever another bounty hunter ally starts their turn. Now let's move into Boss basic and special attacks. So Boss's basic attack is called Prey on the Weak, and it's going to deal physical damage to the target enemy, and it's going to be a guaranteed critical hit and deal double damage if the target is the weakest enemy. Boss's first special is called Hunting Party. It has a cooldown of 4. It also deals physical damage, and it is a single target stun on an enemy for 1 turn. It's also going to call all other bounty hunter allies to assist, dealing 60% less damage. And then if the target is the weakest enemy, it's going to reduce all of the assisting bounty hunter allies cooldowns by 1. And Boss's last special is called Predator Instinct. So it has a cooldown of 4. This is the ability that gives him taunt. It's going to also cleanse himself of all debuffs. He's going to also recover 50% of his health, and he's going to gain Frenzy. Frenzy, by the way, is not a new buff. We have characters like Bistan in the game already that has Frenzy. Frenzy is a buff that gives that character full turn meter if another ally uses a special ability. The taunt is going to last for 3 turns, and then lastly he's going to do a offense up buff for the entire team for all bounty hunter allies. Alright, so Boss's kit was pretty good. We just reviewed it, and so now that we covered briefly some of the changes in the contract system and Boss's kit, we're going to take a look and change gears and see how the bounty hunters can perform in the Sith Raid. So far bounty hunters have been pretty lackluster in this raid, which is disappointing because they actually have a specific raid bonus, which is it's listed right here. It's called Capture or Kill. So let's quickly review it so everyone is familiar. Basically what happens is whenever an enemy is defeated, all bounty hunter allies are going to gain 20% critical damage stacking until the end of the encounter. And also keep in mind, small side tip, you can actually have this bonus carry over during phase transitions to really maximize this raid bonus. So now let's take a look at some footage that was given to myself and some of the other game changers. This is going to be pretty interesting, and so let's take a look and see what we can do with some bounty hunters in this raid. Alright, so here we are. So we're going to watch bounty hunters facing Darth Sion. So this is a Boba Fett bounty hunter led squad in phase 2 of the Sith Raid. We have Bossk in here as well, and so this is not gameplay that I specifically played, but this is footage that was given to me. So basically what we're doing here is we're going to try to analyze to see if there's any potential here for them in the Sith Raid. So the first thing that I can see here is within just 30 seconds, we have already accomplished the contract and gotten every bounty hunter their payouts. So that was very quick. It's not very difficult to accomplish and get these contract rewards. Now, Boba Fett's leadership ability is quite good and his specific payout is quite good, but when it comes to his contract, his contract reward for all the other bounty hunter allies when you complete the contract is going to give all bounty hunter allies 25% tenacity for the rest of the battle. So I believe Boba Fett did not receive the strongest of contract rewards for the rest of the bounty hunters, and that's probably because his leadership ability was already pretty good. So in my opinion, after kind of reviewing some of the payouts, and I'll kind of briefly talk about them right now because I didn't cover them earlier, I think the individual payouts when you complete a contract seem to be generally better than the contract rewards themselves from the leadership ability. So I'll kind of quickly review some of them, for example, from the characters that are here on the team. So we have IG-88, so whenever he critically hits enemies, he's going to reduce their tenacity by 10%. That's going to stack over the course of the battle, so that's going to be a good thing on the raid bosses because they already have a lot of tenacity, and you can actually reduce their tenacity permanently for the rest of the battle. That's good. You can land some of your debuffs. He's also going to ignore 50% defense of target locked enemies specifically, which is going to be good if you can target lock Scion because he has very high armor, and he's also going to gain 25% offense if there's an enemy with target lock as well. So that's pretty good. Now Boba Fett's payout is going to give him full turn meter, so when he completes his payout he's going to get to go right away, and he's going to gain 50 flat speed for the rest of the battle. That's a lot of speed. He's also going to gain defense penetration equal to 200% of his defense penetration. So also another bounty hunter that's going to be very effective in trying to do damage on characters, enemies that have high defense. And remember, Darth Sion has a lot of defense, especially the raid boss version of Darth Sion. Then from there, let's talk about Greedo. Greedo's reward payout for completing a contract is really interesting because it is actually his original leadership ability. Of course, it's a little bit better now post rework, but he's going to give his old leadership ability to everyone. So it's like you're running multiple leaders. It's interesting. Of course, if you don't know, Greedo's original leader ability was to give all bounty hunter allies 50% critical damage. So if you complete the payout, Greedo is going to give your bounty hunters even more critical damage on top of the raid bonus. And then lastly, Dengar is going to have 25% offense and plus 25% speed when you complete a contract, and he gets his reward payout. And while Dengar is stealth, which he goes into stealth quite often, he has a 60% chance to assist when another bounty hunter ally uses a special ability. So the combination of Bossk and Dengar actually reminds me of the clones. Like Dengar is kind of like Echo, and Bossk is kind of like Cody because he has that mass assist attack, and Echo has a bunch of single target assist attacks that are random and variable. So now back to focusing on the battle at hand. Darth Sion is now at an enrage timer of 4, closely approaching 3. So now we've had some time to stack up some of that critical damage. So let's see how much damage we can do with some of these bounty hunters towards the end of the battle. So let's take a look at what Boss first special, that call all bounty hunter allies assist attack with offense up, does. That is a bunch of 20 and 30k damage numbers, which is impressive because Darth Sion has a lot of defense, and that is not 100% of their damage. It is a 60% damage of reduction from all the bounty hunter allies that are being called to assist. So let's also take a look at some of the basic attacks and specials. Here's Greedo hitting a minion on the side. 86k from Greedo. Wow, what an upgrade. Now it'll be interesting to see the final score of this battle. Keep in mind that these bounty hunters probably have room for improvement. I don't know if they're maxed out on their gear, but I'm speculating that they could probably be increasing their damage with some modding improvements, but I don't know for sure what they're running, if they're even running maximum crit damage or a ton of offense secondary. So 2 million damage from that team in phase 2. That's pretty decent for phase 2 and the heroic version of the raid, and I think you can definitely bump that up even higher. So that's going to be very interesting to see. So that is all the Sith Raid footage that I have for you guys. We're watching some arena footage here against a Night Sister team. I speculate that they'll also do quite well against Night Sisters, especially if they have a Night Sister zombie that is, they call it the paper zombie, where it's specifically not geared on purpose because you can quickly complete your contract contracts. I think so they'll do probably well against Night Sisters and maybe modes like Territory Wars on offense. So that'll be interesting. I think that they have some potential in the Sith Raid. What do you guys think of that Phase 2 battle? Let me know in the comments below. I also think that they'll probably be decent in Phases 1 and 4 against Darth Nihilus with maybe a different bounty hunter lead like Dengar's leadership, which brings health steal to the table, which is good to counteract the damage straight to health that Nihilus does. He definitely ignores protection, and so that'll be a nice counter to bring up the health pools back up after Nihilus attempts to kill your team. So that wraps it up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that it was informative and enjoyable for you guys, and if it was, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I make videos all the time about this great game, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.